So today we are controlling group and there are the following our comments and summaries of other group reports. And continue, I want to introduce with you our members. Namely Minh Thư, Dasmi, Nhất Tinh, Quốc Văn, Phương Thảo, Minh Tỷ, and Khánh Vân. And I have our group have two main parts. The first is group topic. We will summarize the other group topics, and the second thing is comment and conclusion from us. Okay. Let me name to you our group topics of other groups. The group one group topic is aviation is affected by COVID-19 in Vietnam, and group two is support and command change. Group three is shortage of labor for clothing industry. Group four is tourism industry in COVID-19. And group five is Vinamilk company charity analyzing. And group six is how and why people make decisions to buy. And the final group is group 7, Shopee Super Sale Day. The following we have to give them a comment and conclusion about their report, PowerPoint and their video. Okay, let's get started by group 1.
Studying in Group 1 has a topic is analyzing the impact of COVID-19 on Vietnam's aviation industry. In the objectives, common and the future goals, and had to pass in the problem statement, police and research court, and in the findings, suffers heavy loss and face huge debt. In the content of the book 1, summarize the serious impact of COVID-19 on Vietnam aviation industry. Business data does not affect customer or business behavior. In a chapter, no solution solving the current and the future problems. And we go to PowerPoint and video. In Blockmass, clear presentation, good effects, concise information, good picture quality, clear sound. In the point to note the non-clear title of each item. The time of video is too long for more than 30 minutes. And we go to inclusion. Group 1 is missing the deadline and non-clear content of the report. Good PowerPoint, video too long. And next, in the group 2.
Okay, let's continue with group 2 report. For group 2, I will summarize their report. They list the core domestic delivery companies with their history and development, and then talk about the hardship the companies faced during the pandemic and the reasons for them, and finally come up with solutions to solve this problem. And I think the purpose of this project is to find solutions to develop and improve shipping service. Okay, nextly, I want to give them some comments of their report, their PowerPoint and their videos. Next slide. Okay, I think they have some advantage. They clean, beautiful, and neat and need presentations and expert individuals to very detailed and easy to understand information, solve problems, and finally solutions. And they also have some point to note that is unclear about the main object of this project. I can see their objective in their report. And too long to list the history of formations and development of on for shipping companies and definitions should not to mention in intro just briefly what main goal of this project. Specifications and process should not be mentioned in the body of this report instead of this information. And the presentation by powers have too much text and fill illustrations. And the part of the chart is wrong because the ingredient in the shipper does not mean that the increase in the number of customers shopping. And about videos, video with 22 minutes and 35 seconds is too long for video to fully attractive, and the volume in the presentation is not attractive and lack of creativity. And the finals, I will give them some conclusions. Next slide. The form is presents is quite clearly and the content is quite lacking and unplain about the details. And there are not many figures related to my microeconomics, and video is too long and lack creativity and it's fast videos. Okay, the next is the group 3 report.
Next in the group trees, has topic is analyzing unreliable sources in the pandemic COVID-19. In the objective, pre-integrating label resources and have to pass problem statement, large job leading label sources, and findings, return to work, and labels market price. In the content, in group 3, overview of the impact of COVID-19 on floating workers, identify the problem and its impact on employees, missing data email, and in the PowerPoint and video, plus mark in the group, clear presentation, good content, good image, good picture quality, good sound, reportable video timing. In conclusion, in group 3, miss the deadlines, on good the reports, PowerPoint and video, identify the problem to be studied well, and next in the group 4,
First, the summary of the report is they collected data and statistics to analyze effects of COVID-19 on the tourism industry, and they show us what are tourists concerned about when they travel. The second is they give the information on the government policies in terms to recover the tourism industry. The third one is they have analyzed the challenge and good condition for government to deal with these difficulties. And finally, they make recommendations about how to deal with consequences. The tourism industry must have a crisis condition fund. The problem of reducing the cost of products but still ensuring the quality of tours will be one of the leading stimulus solution for resurgent theorems. And next is the comment. The report is informative, well organized, but is not clearly arranged. Besides, it also has images that make the report easier to understand. The video then has a clear and coherent presentation. The good point is their voices are so articulate in the presentation. The conclusion. But after all, they did a really good job and they meet the deadline, but also providing readers with numerous information about the tourism industry. The next is the group 5.
Well, I will talk about the project of Group 5. Group 5 topics is consider the Vietnam Dairy Product Choice Stock Company, Vinamilk Business Strategy. Group 5 illustrate two part is information description and SWOT analysis. About the content of Group 5, you see on the PowerPoint, it's pretty simple and enough information for the audience to understand well. And they apply good for the lesson supply and demand into the situation. The SWOT analysis to understand the activities and use a lot of data to explain for the situation. But in my opinion, the foreign mentality is not a one of opportunity. That should be the threat. So about the PowerPoint and video, the plus mark is a good looking PowerPoint. The time of video quite good. They present confidently and clearly. They open the camera to interact with the audience. This is a good point. It's a plus. And however, the point to know the non-clear heading of each item and too much text in some slide that make the audience to confuse the information and a few poor quality illustration such as the image they add to the PowerPoint is not clearly arranged. Come to conclusion. In general, Group 5 did really good. They're giving reader a lot of information to better understand Vinamilk. However, about the content of group, there are errors in the element of opportunity. There's some a little mistake. So the score should be 9. And this is that's for the group 6.
In Group 6, they analyze factors influencing consumer purchasing decision. Summary contents of Group 6. The first one, they list 7 factors that influence consumer purchasing decision. And then they analyze more closely the influencing factor and say that what are the main core affecting the purchase decision. And next, they synthesize data on economic event and then analyze the effect of state and expectation on purchasing decision. And then they mention some other factors such as age and life cycle, occupation and economic, or personality and lifestyle. And the last one is conclusion. In comments, I will give them some concept common into aspects, content, and form. In content, this group with investments, research, email, and data to clarify what they are referring to. However, some of the contents in the PowerPoint in the reports are not linking. For example, in the description of event session in PowerPoint, COVID-19 is mentioned, but the report is not mentioned. Some parts of reports do not follow the path that teacher asked for, and different in the PowerPoint are description of event, broader statement, objective, finding, conclusion, and reference. And in the aspect form, they I give them some common tasks around reports, PowerPoint, and video. Have plus marks in this group. They add image and data to make the content more persuasive. Has the related clear layout of each session with many inclusion, and the video is about 18 minutes long. So that's good. And presentation is quite clear and detailed. The voice is easy to hear, but some point to note is the group should leave the source aspect at the end. Do not insert it in the middle of each part like that. A presentation of hitting is not clear. And PowerPoint has a lot of text and poor quality image. In the conclusion, your group assignments is invested in both content and form. Your PowerPoint has a release clear layout and example, but besides that, the content is still lacking. The content in the reports and PowerPoint are somewhat inconsistent, and lacking a hitting in the reports are not clear. The next presentation is Group 7 of
About the group 7, that's analyzing the super sale day of Shopee. In the report, they according about six parts, and the first one is description. That they explains what is the Shopee and the event, the super sale day. And the second one is the problem. They are defining the problem in the both sides, that's a positive and negative equation. The third one is objective. They identify the meaning and the purpose that the super sale days bring not only to Shopee but also to the customer and the retailers. And the five is there is involving 5 items. That's a Shopee certified. Why do customers respond the event, integration, finding, and the question for the interview of the Shopee user. And the last one is the conclusion that they summarize the report and point out some of the principles in the 10 of principle of economics that has applied to the event. And the next one is the comments of the content. That's they are analyzing the objective not only of the Shopee but also of the customer and the retailer. They point out the principle that's applied into the event, and they define the goals and go into detail in each
categories. And the next one is the evaluation of PowerPoint and video. The good point that they have a formal and neat presentation with a tight connection to each part. The PowerPoint have following the order based on the report so that our audience can easily to following and understand. And about the video, they have clear and coherent presentation layouts. Their voice is so attractive and they have a good time management. That's the video just about the 7 minutes long. But however, they have some point that need to note. That's too many words on several slides, and some place that they talk quite fast, so it's hard to follow. And about the conclusion, that's they had the invest in 3 sessions. That's group, report, PowerPoint, and video. They always on the time, and they have a well doing the detail report very clearly and coherently. And this is the end of our presentation. Thank you for watching, and do you have any questions?